roof on that, of course, is looking a little bit sad, it's looking a bit older. You should have a nice thick shadow between the sedge capping and the main bit of the roof. When you haven't, it's time to change the capping. Well, they haven't done that yet. But those grasses, the sedge that goes on the top because it's bendy, the reed that makes the main part of the roof up, last 80 years, those two crops have grown on this estate here. This is a working estate. And because it's a working estate, we actually get traditional wildlife, whether we see it or not. We know it's here. So keep your eyes peeled. The way it's been working the last month, it's been about 59 minutes of me shouting. Try not to shout too much. About a minute of me going, wow, and you going, wow, and you thinking, I'll give that man money. Well, somebody's already paid in advance. In fact, I think you've been paid for in advance as well, so this is a very unusual trick. You've got to enjoy it. It's the law. That depends whether you see anything or not, doesn't it? So it's going to take us about 10 minutes to cross this huge lake. It's a great big lake. All around us, we've got this fresh water. You'll see swallows, baby swallows flying across the front of the boat. If I ever mention a species, a type of bird or animal, I usually point at it at the same time. And it's a good way to, if you can't see it, there's some more swallows going across. See how short their tails are? It's because they're babies, well, youngsters. And they fledged about 6 weeks ago. And there was a load of nests inside the porch on Mere Cottage, maybe where these ones are born, and that's why they haven't changed the thatched roof on the porch, because you mustn't disturb swallows while they're nesting. You can see by the amount of rain and wind we've had, all the reeds around the edge of the water have laid flat. And as they try and grow for the light again, those stems will end up curved. And that's if we never cut the edge of the marsh for thatching. Because those reeds are bent, they're just not going to work. You need to go in a little bit before you start cutting commercially. So around the edges you'll get more flowers and more trees. If it's not managed, but management is what this estate is. If I need to make that seem a little bit more exciting, I can say the last King of England used to pop in there for a little drinking. Prince Charles and Lady Anne have been there at the same time. It turns up on the Ruth Rendell's film, it's where our murderers lived, made up. It's always the nicest places where the horriblest people are supposed to live in a film. It's like, no, that's where the nice people live. Anyway, how old it is, it's as old as Trigger's Broom. If you've ever heard of Trigger's Broom, maybe you haven't. It's this bloke who makes the warm, the longest lasting broom in the whole factory. He's had it for 20 years. And then he goes at the end and says, oh, I've had a couple of new heads, about a dozen new handles, but it's still the same broom. That's still the same building as 150 years ago. It's had a new roof, new floor, new walls, new doors. But it's still the same place. So, well, the King of England used to have a little sip in there. George VI used to go in for a little tipple. There's a couple of birds over there called marsh harrier. Now they're one of the rarer birds in the country. These I think are also youngsters. And what they're waiting for is one of their parents to feed them. Now that may have just happened, might be about to happen, I can't see the adults, but those two birds there, Circus scrutinosus, some of the rarer birds, marsh harrier is their local name, and as the name gives you a clue, they like to harry over marshland, they like to hunt over open land, to harry is to hunt over, chase over open land. And they're living here now. There's quite a number in the country, but there's still more golden eagle in the UK than there is marsh harrier. Not around here, though. And then you can see wind pumps on the skyline. We've got old broken windmills. If you want to have, you don't have to, but if you have a look, just turn your head right round, and you'll see the arm of a wind pump just on the skyline over there. Looks a bit broken, that one. And then there's another one. No, it's broken. Here we've got a lot closer to one of these marsh harriers. Now this is worth looking at. Have a look over the front of the boat, just behind this iPad screen. So in the way they're flying, there's a very different style of the way they're flying. They're going glide, and then flap, 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 flap. So you just watch the way they fly. That is what makes it a marsh harrier from a mile away. If you saw that same shape, that sort of shape, with the flap, 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 and then glide. That's how marsh harriers get along. And if you like more about binoculars, there's some here. They come with a strap. There you go. So find the object first, then put the binoculars between you and the object. bedroom just on the top of the marsh, straight in front of us. I say sick because they're basically like teenagers, bone island. Yeah, I know. I said that to someone the other week. I said, well, they haven't even got out their bed yet, and this girl was like a teenager. And I said, I just stopped to the camera, I said, what time did you get up this morning? She goes, 9 or 10. And the whole boat just fell about laughing. So I'm like, okay. So you get up really early in the morning, do you? 9 or 10 o'clock. And you've got more rain coming in, but we're going to turn away from this rain. We're going to get downwind. We're going to look at these two old two young marsh harriers over here. And then we're going to quite quickly turn around with our backs to them. I don't know if we're going to see anything else. Been able to come out 20 years ago and show people marsh harriers, even that close, within 10 minutes of leaving the stave. That just wouldn't have been possible. There were so few around, but now I'm on a slightly different area. They've always been here, to be fair, and we're just lucky. They are locally quite common. Now I'm keeping well away from the banks. That boat that I just rescued, what did it do? That saw the reed beds, that probably you can see the pond reed sticking up here and there, you can see little lumps of it here and there, and then that just sailed straight into it. And then they told me the story how their engine wasn't powerful enough to overcome the wind. I just said, no, you're wrong. What you've done is you've got your propeller covered in weed. And that's all they do. It happens all the time up here. People like to come up here. They can't go in the middle of the water, they have to go at the edge for some reason, and then of course they get stuck and then they phone a friend and there we go. But it's never anybody's fault. But the thing is about the pondweed around the edge, it's where the insects live. The insects graze the algae, which are tiny little microscopic plants that live in the water and give watercolour green. And if the insects can't hide in the pondweed, the fish eat them all. Then nothing grazes the algae, and the algae will then expand and get more and more until it's algal bloom. And that will take the oxygen out of the water at night, because everything respires, everything absorbs oxygen and produces carbon dioxide if it lives. Now it just so happens that plants do more producing of oxygen during the daytime, but they still have to respire at night. So at night time they can take the oxygen off the fish, and the fish will actually suffocate and die. So the birds that eat the fish have a fantastic couple of weeks, and then there's nothing for them to eat, so it's a collapse to the whole system. Whereas if we leave the pondweed where it's supposed to be, on the bottom of the water, around the edges, the balance is maintained. So whenever I find people in the edge, I do rescue them, but I very rarely am massively sympathetic, because I know it's nearly always pilot error involved. But there we go. You might just catch the top of a wind pump, right down there against the trees and the skyline, there's a little white blob. I know it's only a little white blob, but what you'll know, that's on the River Thurn. That's the nearest we get to an original river course. It's a bit tricky to see that one. There's another wind pump coming up over there on the right hand side, a bit easier to see. It looks like a windmill.
Over there?
Yeah, that's got a tree perfectly in the way. That'll come out in a minute. So that's called stub mill. It doesn't matter whether they're called a mill or a pump, they're all actually wind pumps. And interesting enough about the ones up here, they all cost more money to build and repair and staff than they ever made for the estate. And you think, well, that's okay, because the job they were built for was to drain the marshes. Well, no, the job they were built for was to make the estates money. And they all failed around here. They worked in the main boards, but around here it's too windy, ground is too poor, and I don't know, things get broken. So all these wind pumps were like white elephants or whatever. But you'll see them darted around. If you keep looking, you'll see them popping out all over the place, and they look beautiful, of course. And we're getting our one restored back to pumping condition in the next couple of years. So we've had a good old route around the open water. You can see it's a force 5 blowing. You might not feel it with the wind behind us. If you look around behind us, you see the great white tops on the waves. It's just about force 5. We're going to get away from that now. We're going to go down into the marshes along Meadow Dyke. We might see another boat, we might see nothing, I don't know. But you're coming with me. And I nagging binoculars back.
We don't have a lot of choice, do we?
No, you don't have a lot of choice. It is. Got a bad weather forecast is worse for me than bad weather. Because I was out in that rainstorm yesterday. Thursday afternoon this time, and we had a ball. We had a birthday party as well. There was another birthday party for Jack.
Yeah.
It was.
Even though it's raining.
That's why we want to do it, even when it's raining.
It was a proper experience. It started off without the rain coming, and before I even left, I said, "You see that over there? That is coming here. No doubt about it. It's definitely going to rain." And then when it started to pitter patter, I said, "This isn't rain." And then it got a bit hard. I said, "Nah, it's still not raining." Everyone's looking at me a bit odd. And then it sort of went up a couple more gears until the water was boiling almost. And I was like, "Now this is back on the road." Yeah, we had a right old time.
And then you had to come to the lightning as well.
We had a yeah, but we were counting it. Once the lightning got to 5 miles away, we were tied up and I didn't go back out.
That's fair enough.
Because yeah, that is a little scary when the lightning comes a bit closer.
Yeah, it is a
started
bit.
off, I think the boy was counting quite slowly on the lightning. He's no, that's 23 miles away. Like, I think you need to count a bit quicker. Maybe. Anyway, we're going down a canal, and this is how they carried the blocks of peat that were being mined behind us away. Peat. This is the flooded peat digging. Okay. It was the main source of fuel in medieval Norfolk, and at the time, Norfolk was higher compared to sea level, so these pits were dry. Norfolk is sinking compared to sea level. I can explain more, but maybe just say the whole British Isles is kind of seesawing backwards and forwards. That's the basics of isostatic readjustment, whatever it's called. And when it was at a high point, they dug the peat. Now it's coming towards a low point. It's going to be an estuary again, just like it was in Roman times, the Sea of Corinthus. And of course, this summer we're going to melt the North Pole. Very exciting. First time in 50 or 60,000 years there'll be no ice cap on the North Pole. Yeah, exciting is one way of calling it. Yeah, catastrophic, terrifying. That's the one I think I use most frequently.
Better start building the boat, haven't we?
Yeah, better start on that ball.
So this is the way that all the traffic comes up and down.